Good evening, all. Ready for paper two, probably one of the last exams you're sitting. Well done for all the work you've put in over your exam period. So tomorrow you'll be sitting paper two. It obviously will be a full paper, as in an hour and 15 minutes, but it'll only be on everything that I've taught you so far. So all the psychological information and all the social groups information. So hopefully it's fresh in your mind. Remember, to fully extend your answers, and we'll go through a few bits in a minute. So your exam is Monday, the 24th of November, and it's 8:55, so be on time to school. Over the next couple of slides, you'll be able to see that there's a rag sheet for everything you've learned in year 11. Obviously, quite a lot of it's likely to come up because it's not a full exam paper with regards to everything that I would have taught you by the end of year 11. So quite a lot of this will be in your exam paper. So make sure you've taken your time to go through it. If there's anything that is red, make sure that you've taken some time to revise it. You can also find this sheet on Arbor. As I said last time with the bug, please make sure you are boxing the keyword. So is it a state? So therefore those are all short answers. Define, identify, all those are very short 1-2 mark answers. And then if you've got to sort of explain and analyze or discuss, you can see that obviously discuss and analyze come into both. So it depends on how many marks it's worth to how much information you give. I mean, if you have the time, I suppose it's probably worth giving more information than less. But if it's only a sort of 4 mark answer, make sure that you are giving that information. And then your analysis questions, you evaluate, you justify. I'm going to talk a little bit more about them in a couple of slides. Then underline the keywords. None of this is new. We've been doing this for probably nearly a year now. So what is the question asking you? Is it asking you about personality? Is it asking you about goal setting? Is it asking you about social groups? What is the question asking you? Make sure that you're answering the question that is asking you. And then finally, you go back over and have a little look at what the question is asking. You've all seen this exam question recently. It's a question that's the sort of style that's likely to come up in your exam. So Nick's been a rugby coach. You need to make sure you read all that information really clearly. And you can see that this first part of the question, because it's a 3-part question, is worth 2 marks. And when we did this question in your exam a few weeks ago, some of you missed out on a really easy mark because it says label the axes and join up the points to make a graph. Some of you just joined up the points. Some of you didn't label the axes. Some of you randomly went from naught. Okay, so please make sure that if it's 2 marks, it's going to be asking you for 2 things. So double check that you've got that information. So this question carries on from the previous one we've just had a look at, and you can see it's a 2-mark answer and a 3-mark answer. For the first one is, so analyze information table 2. So you have a look at information table 2. Outline 2 ways that Nick's target for season 5 can be seen as smart. So when it's outlined, we need to make sure it's in a sentence. So some of you put down just a word like specific or measurable, and that won't get you any marks. You need to write what specific is, what the measurable is. And then for the second part of the question, which is the outcome goal, which is worth 3 marks. Explain why an outcome goal may not be a good idea. So you need to give 3 reasons why an outcome goal is not a good idea. So why is it not a good idea, but 3 separate reasons? We can't just have 1 reason and expand on it. It needs to have 3 separate reasons. So what I would suggest now is you pause the video and you have a go at attempting these 5 markers. And then once you think you've got the best answer you can, you play the video and the mark scheme will be on the next slide. So as you can see here, there are the 2 answers. So you can get 1 mark. So you can see the MB says must include a rationale. Do not award marks for only stating. So that's what I said on the slide before. You need to expand on it. So it is specific to him and the team. It's measurable, as there's a clear number of wins to be set. It's accepted because the committee and himself have accepted it and agreed it. It's realistic because it's only 3 more than the previous. So every time they're writing a word, they're expanding on it. So it's only a sentence, but it has more information, which will give you the marks. And then the marks for the second question, the 3 marker, you can see at the bottom, as we've looked at previously, these aren't going to be all the answers. So if it's another suitable answer, then obviously you can get the mark. So the first one being they focus solely on winning, which can result on a poor performance. The opposition may be better. You can't control something. If the team's better than you, who you're playing, that's something you can't control. So an outcome goal will not be helpful in that situation. Then it could make people get stressed. It could make people have mistakes as a result. So there's some examples that you might have written, but like I say, it says accept any other suitable response. So you may have other ones that haven't been identified on that mark scheme. So exam paper 2 lends itself nicely to these sort of 6 to 9 mark answers, and terminology such as this means that, furthermore, in addition, will be a really helpful structure for you. So make sure when you're answering a question, you give your point. So girls participate in sport less than males. That's your point. Example, for example, there are 30 football teams for males and 15 football teams for females. That's your sporting example, and elaborate on it. So the reasons for this are, you could talk about stereotypes, time, role models, all that information we've looked at, and then you link it back to the question. And then you repeat that again for a 6 mark, or if it's a 9 mark, you repeat it again after that. As I did with the last night before news, you can see that I've put evaluate, analyse and justify information onto one slide. So just have a quick look over this slide, refresh your memory. So if it's an evaluate, make sure you give strengths and weaknesses, advantages and disadvantages. It won't allow you to just give one side of an argument. Then if you've got analyse, then you need to go into it a little bit more detail, explain yourself more, things like therefore, as a result of this. And then for justify, you've got to give evidence. So you will have definitely all 3 of these in your exam paper. There aren't many misconceptions that we've looked through yet because we're not a huge amount way through the year 11 content, but personality and motivation / feedback are real common misconceptions that people get wrong. So personality is introvert and extrovert, whereas motivation and feedback are intrinsic and extrinsic. And it's really important that you get those words right, because if you were to write about introvert with regards to motivation or feedback, it wouldn't give you any marks, and vice versa. So your exam is 1 hour and 15 minutes unless you have extra time, which will be the same length exam as your one in the summer. And this one is a morning one, so it starts at 8:55. So make sure that you are on time to school. You will need 2 black pens, a ruler, a calculator and a pencil, depending what comes up in your exam. So you might have to do some graph work. You might want a calculator just to check some statistics and things like that. This evening, so first thing to do is to go through your rag sheet. Is there anything that is red or amber that you need to go over? If there is, open up your revision book or open up your class book and use that as a starting point for making sure that you make it an amber or a green. So you could do a flashcard, you could do a mind map, you could watch a little clip on it if you found something useful on Bite Size, but revise the topics you're not too sure of. Practice some exam questions. So we've practiced a few exam questions. We did a big 9 marker the other week. A similar question might come up in your exam, so it might be worth looking back over that. And obviously you've got things like Gizmo that you can use to revise as well. But most importantly, get a good night's sleep. You need to be able to be fully functioning first thing in the morning. Do some exercise, walk the dog, move, do something. Don't just sit with a PE revision book for 3-4 hours in a chunk. Your brain will stop functioning effectively. So do 20 minutes, get up, move around, have a cup of tea, walk the dog, play PlayStation for 10 minutes, jump back off, and then carry on again. And lastly, please get off your phone and get a good night's sleep. So tomorrow morning you'll be very used to this because this is one of the last exams in your exam season. So eat breakfast. Your exam's early. It's 8:55, so you don't want your tummy rumbling whilst you are sitting your hour-and-a-half exam. The hub's open from 7, so you're welcome to come in and start revising then in a nice quiet workspace. Please bring any flashcards that you've not quite mastered because you can work through them with a friend, and revise with people that are good influence on you. It's not time to hang out with your mates. It's time to revise. You need to be academically selfish. You are the one that is going to open that exam results in August, not your mates' exam results, your exam results. And they'll determine your stepping stone to your next path in your career, whether it's PE or not. Hopefully, obviously, it is. Mr. Thompson and I will be there if you need any help or advice, and then you can review the revision warm-up. I've made 2 sheets, so there's plenty of questions there to reactivate your topics. Final advice. You lot seem to like this exam paper a lot more, so please make sure you answer every question fully. Bug it. What is it asking? Is it asking you to evaluate? Is it asking you to state? Is it asking you to outline? What is it asking for? Highlight how many marks the question's worth. If it's worth 2, have you given 2 points? If it's worth 5, have you given 5 different points? If it's worth 9, have you done PEEL 3 times well? Make sure you answer as fully as humanly possible. Attempt every question. When we did your practice paper a few weeks ago, no one left a blank, which was excellent. So please make sure that you attempt it. Just give it a go, because you never know, you might get part of it right. In the real exam, if you've crossed something out and not given another answer, they will mark, if you've crossed out something that's correct, they will mark that correct. So it's worth giving it a go, even if you're not too sure. Use all your time wisely. So go back. It requires a little bit more writing in depth than paper 1, I think, in some ways, because the psychology and the social groups, you can write in a little bit more depth. The bones and muscles are what they are. A type of training is this. But I think this lends itself to a little bit more in depth. Read your answers, go back, read it through at the end. There shouldn't be any time where you're just sat there twiddling your thumbs. Have you, when you go back and read it, pretend we're marking it in class. So if you were marking it in class and Mrs. Lovelock was sat on your shoulder, where would I be given those 4 ticks if it's a 4-mark answer? Or would I be given, if you haven't got 4, go back and try and get a 4th. If it's a 4-mark answer, I'd rather you have 5 points. If you've got time in your exam, I'd rather you have more, because then if there is a chance that you've said something very similar, then if you can write something else, then that might get you the extra mark. And then finally, if it's a discuss, make sure you give both sides of the argument. Okay. And most importantly, good luck. You're going to smash it. I'm sure you've prepared really well. And this grade will go together with your other exam grade and your practical, and then we'll start having a look at the NEA. Lots of luck. See you in the morning.